Hello, it's Etharal here, and today we are back with our Crusader Kings 2 Sengoku Jidai Japanese Samurai Shogun mod. That's basically a load of adjectives and nouns and things that describe this mod without actually trying to say the name, the NMIH, because this is a name for a mod that I am just never going to remember. So we have been playing as the Nanbu clan. We have managed to unify more than a little bit of the north of the main Japanese island. One thing I am considering looking at doing, I am starting to hit some rather large clans down to my southern borders at the minute, and so starting to think about, okay, so maybe could we look at going north? Is that an option that we might be able to do? And have a look at some of these guys up here. If we could bring this northern island under our control, get that nice and safely under our control, then the actual Nanbu clan may be able to use that and the resources that we would gain from that to be able to push further south. I mean, here you can see there's the Obama and the Mogami clan. Now, these aren't as big as we are. Your closest ones to us would be the Usagi and the Takeda down in the south, and possibly like the Tokugawa and the Order and things like that, whichever ones of those are still knocking around. But they're not likely to be much of a threat for us at the minute, and you know, still the Obama clan here, I've had a look at them and they are very, very militaristic to say the least, and they aren't somebody that I want to be squaring up against just yet. Ideally, I would have liked to go against the Mogami if I could, but instead I'm going to try and actually possibly maybe look at allying against one of these and then removing the other one, and that, I mean, it's an option we can do, certainly. The problem is the Mogami, as you can see here, are currently at war with the Obama, and oh, there we go, the war should end and things are not going too well, and the Obama now are getting in the way of basically, well, our conquest, to be perfectly honest. You know, they are right in that centre, and they are looking at moving west by the looks of things and taking the Mogami clan. If they do take them, then that means that to be able to move further down south, we are either going to have to split our lands, which is generally, you know, history's never been too forgiving on the people that try to attack on two fronts, shall we say. So if we were to break off from our mainlands and try and set up another one, we would probably be, you know, it could be touch and go. That one probably wouldn't go too well if we were to try and do that. So the Obama clan here, they are going to be a real sticking point for us, and somebody who we really, really, really were hoping to be able to deal with. They are, you know, they are reaching very far into our lands. We are starting to circle around them, which is a nice situation to be in. Don't get me wrong, if we do manage to go to war with them and be able to claim a decent bit of lands, we really do have the sort of, you know, the resources here to be able to move in and take a lot of places very steadily and really just surround them and attack them from all sides, which is a really nice situation to be in a lot of ways. It's also as well, though, a very risky situation to be in, because basically Nobuyasu here of the Nanbu, he would be able to figure out, you know, these guys, they are very militaristic, the Obama clan. They are very strong, and they have kind of cut almost like a point into us, which also increases the areas that they can attack us, being a strong military power as well. That is something that, you know, we do need to take into consideration when we're looking at attacking them and trying to see where we can attack them. So we've got a fair few options of what to do and where to go, and we need to be very careful with this one. You know, one false move and we could be in a lot of issues. So things we're going to start trying to do is we are going to look at trying to here marrying off. We probably have chose the weaker of the two in the hopes that, you know, if we can marry them, we can get a defensive pact with them. So, you know, we're not going to be, non-aggression pact. So we're not going to be going against the Mogami just yet, and that way we can focus on the Obama, but still, you know, things that it's touch and go. There's, you know, we're trying to deal with as well internal politics. There's a guy yet again looking to claim to increase the power of the council and give away even more control from the throne, which is less than ideal. They've already got, you know, they can vote on declarations for war and that sort of stuff, so they do already have a very large amount of power, and we're having to try and get these people to be, you know, to like us as much as possible, really. We are also as well, there is another faction which isn't as dangerous, but isn't as dangerous currently, but could become even more dangerous. That was a mouthful to get out, where basically there are some people that are wanting to put, I believe it was my sister, on the throne per se, sort of throne of the actual Nanbu clan. I don't really think clans in Sengoku Jidai maybe had thrones. They aren't really a throne people, as they have the shogun, who, you know, he certainly will have a throne. These guys, they are not kings in any sense. They've never pretended to be, you know, the daimyos. They were never pretending to be kings. They were very, very real world people. There was no idea of divine right to rule in these people. It was simply very easily might makes right. The strongest and best person to rule is the one that is going to take the throne. Particularly with where everything started in this mod, where everything is so completely and utterly split apart, and the shogunate is completely fractured, and there's just complete civil war basically. So, you know, there's no thrones, but it is a case that one of our vassals is trying to put our, I believe it was sister at least, onto that throne as such, and that is a big problem. That would basically, I mean, that, you know, it could put the Nanbu clan itself, it's not going to put them back at, you know, day one, but it is going to turn the Nanbu family for the Nanbu clan into effective figureheads, which is not a situation that we want to be in. That is certainly not a situation that the era would allow. The era itself, it was very much, as I mentioned, might makes right. It is about trying to find that one true leader who can unify all of Japan. That was very much the attitude, at least from the things that I've read, and certainly the things that I would agree about the area. And basically they aren't going to stop, and the fighting won't stop until there is that one leader who is strong enough to do just that. But here, coming back to this actual, you know, stuff, I mean, these guys, well, to say that they are less than stellar guys, the people on our council, would be putting it mildly. We're trying to really have to juggle this, and there is a guy who is really not too happy and does demand to be on the council, but isn't on the council. So what are we going to do? We are going to make him an advisor. He's slightly happier with that, and it also means that he doesn't have to take a position of power. So that means that we can then put the chancellor as the person who is best to be the chancellor. Very, very important role, and that is a very good situation to find ourselves in, because the chancellor is the one that's going to be able to send him to make him happy. So Kokujin here as well, guy not too happy, does feel he is powerful enough, wants to be put on the council. So let's see if we can. We can't put him on the council. That's not great. That's not what we want at all. And he is going to be quite unhappy that he's not on the council. As you can see, he's only out of one. He does feel he is, you know, important enough to be put on there. Which means that we're going to have to look at trying to find a different way to put him on. Which means we may have to move some people around, try and find yet again a balance between who is best for what, which is far easier said than done in this mod, and with the new updates from the newest expansion and DLC for the game. So we'll just mention as well, if you are enjoying this mod, please do be sure to take the time, subscribe over at my channel. I put out videos every single week, and I would love for you to be able to sort of, you know, get your notifications of when I am putting those videos out. So coming back to it, we're in a, you know, still in that situation here. I'm trying to play things very carefully, take my time, make sure I'm in the, you know, the right situation. My son here, he does appear to have, he's, by the looks of things, reached adulthood, and he is somebody who is actually a Grey Eminence. He's a very good military leader and such, so that is an excellent situation for him to be in. And so what we are basically going to have to do then from that is we are going to have to go, right, okay, marry him off, try and get some allies, try and get some friends. It's one of the good things and the bad things that I found in this actual mod. It's a very good situation in that it is realistic that the way the alliances work is that you marry, that then becomes a non-aggression pact. You can then improve your relations further to then become an ally of them, rather than just a marriage becoming straight an ally. Now, marriages becoming straight allies was very much, I think, a Western medieval thing. From the things that I've seen, however, marriages and raising somebody's children and being in effect hostages was less so much of a sign that, you know, we are coming together. It was more of a failsafe in case things broke apart. It was one of the big sort of, what I would certainly say would be one of the defining features of the Sengoku Jidai period, is the fact that it was pretty much, you know, it characterized almost, there was a general feeling of paranoia. No daimyos really fully trusted other daimyos, and that was one of the big things, that people were backstabbing each other left and right, because basically they went, well, you know, you're going to backstab me anyway, I might as well get to you first. And that is one of the big characteristics, I believe at least, of the Sengoku era. And so with that in mind, as well, one of the biggest things that did end the actual, you know, the Sengoku Jidai era was first Nobunaga, who his two generals, who were Hideyoshi Toyotomi and then also Ieyasu Tokugawa, who were, you know, two of his main generals and his main advisors, who then respectively took on his thrones from him. They were all lifelong allies. They never actually betrayed each other while they were alive. Tokugawa did admittedly arguably betray Hideyoshi Toyotomi when, you know, Toyotomi died, but not when he was alive. And that was one of the big things that actually unified the Japan and established the Tokugawa shogunate, was those three guys working as allies and not having to really worry about each other, backstabbing each other and betraying each other. And so those options to put into this game, that element of it takes a lot further to get to that level of being an ally, I think is a really nice touch and really does work well with the setting and the historical time period that this mod is trying to recreate. So coming back to the actual mod itself, got a little bit distracted there with some little bit of Japanese history. I'm a massive history buff, in case you can't tell. I absolutely love it. I read a lot, particularly the medieval feudal sort of system, which is why, unsurprisingly, the Crusader Kings games appeal to me so much. I mean, I'm sitting on, well, let's just say well over 400 hours on this game. But yeah, so this game, I mean, we've got a few options. We're kind of a little bit stuck at the minute. I think, to be honest, realistically, we only have one option, which would be to go after the Mogami family, which is something that is doable. Don't get me wrong, I can do it. However, the other options are to move to the north, but as you can see, a lot of these guys in the north actually have defensive pacts against each other. So it's working out who's got the defensive pacts and who's going to be somebody, though, that we could still take down. Now, the other option, the movement to the south, the Obama are the only option to the south, and that would certainly mean, as they do have a larger force than we do, that, you know, we're going to have to raise up some mercenaries. Oh, actually, I think that was the wrong people, and actually they have less people than me, but I do know that the Obama, they have the same amount, or they near enough have the same amount, and that is going to be an issue there. We can't just stomp all over them, and so to be able to overcome that, we need to look at trying to raise up some mercenaries. Mercenaries, as anybody who's plays the game know, massive drain on your resources. You want to try and raise mercenaries as quickly as possible, get them into the fight, use them for what they need to be, and then get rid of them. Use them to take down that big initial army and then get rid of them. Don't try and use them to try and do, you know, to take castles. That is not what they're for. Mercenaries, do not even try. Honestly, anybody who is looking at playing this game, I don't recommend it. Send in the mercenaries, send them in with the front line, take out their big army that they've all they've all brought together to try and beat you on the battlefield. Once they've gotten rid of that, get rid of those mercenaries as quickly as you can. They're gonna, seriously, doesn't matter how much money you have, they're gonna be a drain on your resources. So it's that fine balance basically that I'm having to balance out at the minute. Is, yes, ideally develop our lands a bit further, then maybe move north, use then the northern provinces as basically a form of funding to fund our expansion down to the south, or save up a load of money, use that money to then pull up a mercenary army to hit the south like a hammer and break the Obama. That's the thing. The Obama, they are the sticking point at the minute. They are the ones that we are going to have to try and basically beat our way past them. Would be about the only way that I can think to really describe what it is that we're going to need to do to be successful in this game at the minute, and they are going to be a big thing. So I think I'm going to skip ahead to when I've gotten to a point where I've decided exactly what it is that I'm going to do with that, how I'm going to overcome that and everything like that. So I'm going to leave it there for today. So thank you very much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed this episode of the Crusader Kings 2 game. I've been Etharal here for EGN. As always, do be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you did enjoy the video. It does help out massively, and it's always great to see you enjoying the videos and wanting to see more of them. So thank you very much for your time. I hope to see you next time here at EGN.